Good morning, Ruby students, staff, and honored guests. This is our annual Veterans Day Assembly, where we take a moment to honor the brave men and women that allow us to have the freedoms that we enjoy in this country. We appreciate you, we honor you, and we thank you for your service. Right now, I'd like to introduce Mr. Joseph Baruka.
Today is the day we honor the noble and the brave, the men and the women who dedicated their lives. When America had an urgent need, they were the first to raise their hand, without thinking twice about it. They were proud to take a stand. Some came back from the war with battle scars, others in flag-draped coffins. Even though their flesh may have left, their spirits will never be forgotten. They unselfishly and knowingly put their lives on the line. So when you see a veteran, thank them, because without them, freedom would have died. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the Lafayette Color Guard and Lieutenant Colonel Jones.
Colors, attention. Carry. Freezing. Colors.
This individual, he served 21 years in the Air Force. He has served across the United States. It's my honor to introduce Mr. Lieutenant Colonel Donald Planack.
I see lots of familiar faces here this morning, if only because I've sent you to the office. Just kidding, I'm not at Ruby Middle School or I wouldn't be here today. Some of you know me as Mr. Clean. Anything that I don't like, to be honest. But today, and just for today, you can't call me Mr. Clean. You have to call me Colonel Clean. I think it's got a good ring to it. I haven't had this uniform on for 17 years. It still fits for the most part. I might be getting a slight wedgie. But it feels good. I wore like a uniform like this for 21 years, and it's almost like a second skin still. I hadn't, before I begin my remarks, I'd like to thank the other veterans that are here today. They're tough looking. I want them on my side and fight. I hadn't had an experience with the military before I joined. For the most part, all I knew about serving in the military is what I learned from watching television and reading books. But virtually every man, and maybe a few women, in the small town where I grew up and where Mr. Wise grew up, were World War II veterans. My dad, my friends' dads, my neighbors, my uncles. Those veterans witnessed the worst the human race had to offer, World War with millions dead. They didn't talk about it much, but they'd been tested, and they'd learned that they were capable of things they never imagined they could do. That experience made them self-confident, and it made them optimistic. They'd done their parts to fight the enemies of freedom. They'd done their part to help win the war. When they got home, they knew the world was going to be a better place for their children. They were called the greatest generation. In many ways, they shaped who the next generation, people like me, were. I hope you have solid, reliable people like that in your lives today. I registered for the draft when I was 18 years old. Does anybody know what the draft was? It's when the government makes you go into the military whether you want to and if you refuse, you go to jail. Turns out I wasn't drafted, and the next year they did away with it altogether, and they haven't had one since. So I didn't think much about the military for the next few years, but I always wondered what it would be like. If it was really like those TV shows I watched on television and the books I read. I was wondering if I was missing out on some important experience that I might regret not having later in life. Eventually, my curiosity got the best of me and I signed up. I didn't have any grand plan to serve 21 years, and I wasn't a kid. I was 26 years old, already out of college. But when I drove through the gates of that Air Force base in Texas to start training, I was overcome by the feeling that the military wasn't a strange new place after all. I fit right in. I felt at home. It was like I'd done this before. Or maybe I just watched way too much TV when I was a kid. The next 21 years were rewarding and fun. I used what I learned in college every day. I got to live in places that I otherwise never would have even visited. I like being a tiny part of a huge organization. When I joined in 1979, there were 500,000 people in the Air Force. The military is a huge organization with an intense sense of shared purpose. Everyone knows what the goal is, and everyone knows just how they contribute to that goal. You're judged by your character and how well you do your job, not by who you know, what color your skin is, where you come from, or how much money your family has. You serve with people from all over the United States and from all walks of life. If you don't think you'd like living and working in close quarters with people that don't look like you, don't talk like you, or maybe don't even think like you won't like it. You'll find yourself out of your comfort zone frequently. You also might not like the idea of your life and future being in the hands of people you never met, strangers at some headquarters far away who decide your fate. I often hear I don't want people telling me what to do as the reason they don't think they like the military. Well, if you have a problem with people telling you what to do, you probably wouldn't like a civilian job either, so good luck with that. In the military, it's not about you. It's never about you. It's about us. It's about defending the United States of America against its enemies. You're a very small fish in a very big pond. You often hear the word sacrifice associated with serving in the military. Sure, it can mean sacrifice, missing your kids' birthdays, or maybe even missing those births themselves. It can cost you a marriage. You can lose your health. You can lose a limb, maybe even lose your life. Your family makes sacrifices too. All 4 of my kids were born while I was in the military. They also experienced military life. Frequent moves, changing schools every 3 years, and parents being gone for months at a time. That can be a rough one. My oldest son had to attend 3 different high schools his senior year. Your kids will never know what it's like to even have a hometown. Imagine that. But that lifestyle also made my kids confident, independent, adventurous adults. Every time that oldest son who went to 3 different high schools his senior year sees the president on TV getting on and off Air Force One at Joint Base Andrews outside of Washington, D.C., he can say, Joint Base Andrews is where I was born. I'll hear thank you for your service a lot today. And my answer is always the same. I appreciate the sentiment, but no thanks are necessary for me. I didn't serve the expectation of ever being thanked. To be honest, being thanked still catches me off guard. I was a volunteer, I was paid well, and I enjoyed being in the military. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Again, no thanks necessary in my case, but I can't speak for other veterans. They may feel differently, so keep it up. Keep saying thank you for your service. Every veteran's experience is different, depending on what branch of the service they're in, what their job is, and what happens to be going on around the world while they're in uniform. You pretty much turn your life over to your nation, hope for the best, and hang on for the ride. And what a ride it can be. I went to places I never imagined I would see. To the White House, inside the National Military Command Center in the Pentagon, and another command center inside a mountain in Colorado. I usually got lost whenever I was in the Pentagon or Cheyenne Mountain. I had to wander around for a while to find out where I was going. Needless to say, I was on all sorts of Air Force aircraft, but I was also on Navy submarines, on aircraft carriers, on Army helicopters, and on one of the President's Marine Corps helicopters. And in surreal places, like underneath a Montana wheat field, with my hand on a humming 60-foot-tall missile with 3 nuclear warheads on top of it, aimed at some targets on the other side of the world. While you're in uniform, you'll always have a place where you belong, a place to sleep, plenty of good food to eat, excellent training, a steady paycheck, and lots of pride. The military takes care of you. There are a lot of worse things to do in your life, or even just a few years of your life. You're surrounded by fellow soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardmen who are in the same situation as you. You're never alone. You have a second family. You're all in the same boat, especially if you're in the Navy or the Coast Guard. It also might turn out to be the biggest adventure of your life. You serve with people you'll never forget, perhaps even make new best friends, and have experiences that you just can't get anywhere else. And it'll be a source of satisfaction to know that you did your part, only a small part, to keep your fellow Americans and people around the world that you will never meet safe and free. Thank you, Riverview Middle School. Enjoy Veterans Day.
World War I, known at the time as the Great War, officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919, in the Palace of Versailles, outside the town of Versailles, France. However, fighting ceased 7 months earlier when an armistice, or temporary cessation of hostilities between the Allied nations and Germany, went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11th, 1918, is generally regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. Veterans Day in the United States is now observed on November 11th, regardless of what day of the week on which it falls. The purpose of Veterans Day is to celebrate and honor Americans' veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. Riverview students, we live in a world today where we idolize and consider heroes, NBA stars, singers, movie stars, and YouTubers. But when you go to bed tonight and you're able to lay your head down safe and secure in our nation, I want you to realize that the true heroes are the men and women that have sacrificed to keep us safe. And now I would like to acknowledge those present that have served our military. Mr. Dave Buckles, Air Force, 23 years. Gary Kretzer, Army, 6 years. Donald Planout, Air Force, 21 years. Gary Kretzer, Jr., Air Force, 8 years. Charles Mormon, U.S. Navy, 4 years. Jim Dubar, Air Force, 6 years. James R. Hines, Navy, 1973 to 1976. He is not present. James D. Hahn, Army, 3 years. Dennis Shea, Army, 4 years. And now I would like to ask the student body and all employees of Rubidoux Middle School, if you have any family members that are currently active in the military or are a veteran, will you please stand up? We thank you for your service. And a personal thank you from me. I appreciate everything you've done, all of your sacrifice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, choir. Now for some closing remarks. Rubidoux student Leighton Burns with a freedom reflection.
When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner almost 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and the home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, American soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard very bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our allied friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. Today is our privilege to say thank you to all American veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford those willing to pay it. Today we celebrate America's veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and home of the brave.
Once again, we'd like to thank our honored guests. Go ahead and thank them one more time. We truly do thank you for your service. Rubidoux students, staff, guests, and honored guests, please stand. Right now, we will have a moment of silence. We'll have a moment of silence for all of the American service members that have given their lives to defend our freedom and our country. Shortly followed by a rendition of taps. Since 1862, taps has been played at military funerals to honor the sacrifice of our country's fallen service members. Thank you. Rubidoux students, thank you for your participation today.